Hello there, and welcome back to Build Your First Systems. So, the first video that we did, I'm your host, Delmar Johnson. Let me start there. All right. But the first video that we did, the first lesson that we talked about was if it's not written down, your team would get this wrong. Today, we're going to talk about the moment you stop being able to wing it in business. So, make sure I get my mic right so you guys can hear me very clearly. All right. So let's get started. So the moment you stop being able to wing it in business, let's take a few moments to go over this. It really is called the invisible shift. What do I mean by that? So around 5 to 7 people, um, something subtle starts to change inside of your business. And that 5 or 7 people can be made up of employees. It can be made up of a combination of things, whether it's employees and interns and contractors, all contractors, or a combination of it all. But once you get to that point of 5 to 7 people, which can take, anywhere from a year to 2 years to 5 years, depending on how fast and how quickly you really want to grow your business and how much you want it to grow beyond you. Or, you have to decide if you're going to stay, independent for a while as a solopreneur and then progress. So that's what we're talking about building your first systems. That's what this channel is all about. So, but the invisible shift begins to happen around 5 to 7 people being on your team. What does that look like? It can be information stops, flowing naturally. The more people you get on your team, you're no longer in every conversation. Maybe you have someone that you've pinpointed that is going to, take up the reins of kind of being the overseer of other people on your team, or kind of being your liaison in your team. All right. You're no longer, again, in every conversation. People start working independently, but they're working independently, but it may be inconsistent. All right. So they're working independently, but inconsistently. And you want people to do both, right? You want your team to be able to do both work independent, have ownership of the role that you have assigned to them to operate in and to perform, but they could be inconsistent in what it is that they're doing. And then another invisible shift, once you get to that 5 to 7 people on your team, is that what used to just work suddenly doesn't. All right. The smaller our businesses are, the easier it is to, get work done sometimes, right? But what used to just work, things were just clicking, right? Things are just clicking, but then suddenly it doesn't. So these are some of the invisible shifts I want you to think of once you begin to build to that 4, 5, 6, 7 people on your team. Now, why things suddenly feel heavier by the time you get to that amount of people on your team? So, and what I've found that founders experience, there's more questions, and sometimes when there's more questions, there's actually fewer answers. All right. When there's more questions, there's fewer answers. There's more interruptions. All right. There's more interruptions. There's more decisions piling up, and the more decisions piling up, and if you're still in the what I want to say, in the thrust of it all, and the thrust of it all, and you're still trying to answer all the questions versus having maybe, a point person to go to, then more decisions are piling up about what it is that you need to do as the founder, as the leader, of the business and the team. And then there's less mental space. Now more of your mental capacity is being taken up. So that's why it begins to feel heavier as as these subtle changes begin to happen in your business. Now, why do founders feel more frustrated? Now, this is where you build emotional trust at. Now, founders are expect, you expect more help, right? You expect more help. You expect more leverage, as you grow your team, right? More freedom. But instead, a lot of times, founders, uh, those those of you all have been in business, for less than say 3 to 5 years, right? Instead of, getting what you expect, the more help, the more leverage, the more freedom, a lot of times you wind up feeling more annoyed, all right, more impatient, or more misunderstood because things are not clicking like they used to when it may have been just one or two people. You all were in there getting your hands, rolling up your sleeves, getting your hands dirty, right? But as your team grows, these things can kind of get out of balance. So, what you expect as the founder, as the owner, a lot of times you'll wind up feeling what's over here in the more know it column, right? The more impatient column, the more misunderstood column. So, that's where the frustration begins to happen for you. Now, I want you to know that nothing is inherently wrong, right? Nothing is inherently wrong, but the business just outgrew memory, right? It just kind of outgrew you. Now it's just time to put some parameters around it, put some systems and some boundaries around it so you can begin to progress further, right? So think of it this way. This is going to be a short one, guys. Think of it this way. Early stage businesses run on proximity and memory. Early stage businesses, you're moving, it's proximity, it's going by what you have in your memory, and you moving forward. Growing businesses need more clarity and more documentation. So as more people come on to your team, the documentation is going to help you. We're going to be talking about, standard operating procedures. That's why we're talking about build your first system. But I'm just laying a foundation first in these first few videos that you're going to be watching before we dive into actually creating that first system and then building on that system, right? Building on that first system. So we're going to go step by step. But this is laying the groundwork for you just to get you thinking about the direction that we're going to go here in building your first system. So these first few videos kind of again land the foundation for you to start thinking this way. So again, early stage businesses run typically on proximity and memory, while growing businesses need a lot more clarity, more documentation, the more people that's added to your team, right? Of course, that just makes sense, right? So this shift is not about failure. It is not about failure. It's a signal that a few changes are needed. That's all. You need to be able to make those changes so you can have the capacity to continue growing, and then your team has the capacity to continue developing and really adding to the success of the business. So this moment is not a crisis. I don't want you to think of it in that manner. This moment is not a crisis. It's simply giving you a cue. That's all. It's simply giving you a cue. So let me see if I have anything else in my notes. So as we close, I told you these are going to be just short foundational videos to get started, and then we're going to move forward with actually building your first system and what that looks like, and we're going to build from there. So this is usually the moment founders need their first real system. All right. Something written down so everything doesn't have to live in their head. So my goal is to start with helping you get these things out of your head, your how-tos out of your head. What does that look like? So I'm excited about being able to build that first system with you, and we're going to go from there, build from there. There's so many things I want to share with you as we actually begin to build up the community, and I'll give you more information about what that's going to look like. But look at these first few foundational videos, and then you can be able to become a part of the community itself. So, and that's what I help founders do. Build one system at a time. Because as founders, as entrepreneurs, a lot of times we get overwhelmed if there's so much thrown at us at one time. Because entrepreneurs, our minds are always going, right. We're always thinking about things. We're creative, we're analytical, we're both, all the things. So I help founders start with that one system at a time to help eliminate and minimize overwhelm. So we're going to build from there. So I'm looking forward to you joining the community. We're going to have a community over on School, and more information is going to be provided to you in the next coming videos. And you can also check out things that are going to be down in the description of the videos for these foundational videos that we're going to be putting here. And of course, that'll be over the coming weeks, and over the coming days, weeks, months, over the course of the year. So again, this is not this is I'm coming to you real, all right? I'm coming to you real and raw and unrehearsed. It's some information I want to be able to provide to you, and hopefully it will It will add value to what it is that you're doing as a founder. What are you doing? What it is that you're doing, growing as an entrepreneur. So stay along for the ride. Stay along for the ride. Again, these first few videos again are going to be foundational of the kind of things that we're going to be talking about, and over in the school community that we're launching and building over there. You'll be able to join over there real soon, but take advantage of the videos that are right here, and we're going to grow from here. How about that? So see you next time. Next time, let me see what I got in my notes. Next time we're going to be talking about, again, continuing to lay the foundation. We're going to talk about teams, about your team, and we're going to talk about expectations. So your team isn't the problem, your expectations are. See you next time for Build Your First Systems. Bye bye. All righty. So